Okay, the final thing we're going to be talking about is the arrival zone with the passenger holding area detection system. So to get prepared for that, I did a couple quick things. First thing I did is just extended the track from our departure zone out here and set up this little thing where it'll basically just bounce back and end up at our arrival zone. Now ordinarily this track would extend off to your destination, and then you'd also have an incoming track coming from your destination station back to the arrival zone. But for our purposes, we don't need that, so it just bounces back on itself. So the first thing I'll say about the arrival zone is, again, direction does matter in this case. We're going to want our carts to end up facing either north or west. So it doesn't really matter where your incoming track is, it's going to hit a loop, but ultimately they'll need to end up facing north or west, and we'll see why in just a minute. But to get started, I'm going to build a little 3-block ramp, just like this, and as always, put a little floating block on the end so our carts fall directly down. At the base of this ramp, I'm going to stick a powered track, followed by 5 regular tracks, just like that. Then we can come and send some powered rails down a ramp, and then we'll create a big loop just like this. And this will be the holding area where our occupied carts will get sent through and loop back on themselves. So I made a big loop and then left a little gap right here at the end of our 5 normal track pieces. And this is where direction's gonna matter. So what I'll do is dig out a block here and kind of make some room. And I should point out that I did not invent this strategy. I'll try to have a link to the original video where I kind of saw this technique, although I think I'm using it in kind of a different way than what the original creator was using it for. So now that we've got this little gap right here, we're going to place a track piece at the base of the gap. And you can see it's going to slant like that. And the reason direction matters is it's going to always prefer to slant in a particular direction. If you're on a north-south direction, it's going to end up with the high end on the north side, the low end on the south side. If you're in a east to west direction, it's going to end up with the high end on the west side, the low end on the east side. So it is important which direction you're ultimately facing there. But now that we've done that, what we're going to do is dig out a block back there and then place 2 powered rails just like that. And it's a good idea to place the outside one first, otherwise it can cause your powered rail to orient itself towards this track. But we want these powered rails to always be powered, so dig out another block there and drop in a torch so they always get power. And then we can bring those up here and then have it come out just like that and connect up. So these powered rails are going to come up here and ultimately connect up to the input tracks for our Pez dispenser, just like that. So we'll probably need a couple of additional powered rails here just to make sure we have lots of momentum. And I'm again not doing this in the most efficient way, but it'll work. So drop in my powered rails. Looks like I had another torch floating around somewhere. And then on our holding area track, again I'll stick in another couple of powered rails just to make sure we have plenty of momentum. So drop in like that. Okay, so that's the basic setup, and we can come here and take our incoming track and connect it right to the corner. That way, when you have a section like this, when it hits a corner of a track piece, it'll continue along the straight path. So we'll come in, hit our loop, go all the way around here, and go up our ramp. Now, we also need to add some power to this, our ramp power tracks. So I'll come down here and dig out and drop in a torch. So this should basically be working now. However, what we're going to want, now we could have this set up such that if this was always supplied with power, then it would still work, but it wouldn't be quite as nice, and I'll show you why. So basically what this is going to do is when a cart comes in, it's going to loop around here, go up our track. If it's empty, it won't be able to make it over this gap, and instead will be routed to our Pez dispenser, just like that. However, if it's full, if it's occupied, we'll have some extra momentum, and we'll be able to make it over that gap and just continue to loop around. But if we're continually looping like this, it can be kind of hard to get out of the cart. So what I like to do is add a pause in here to keep this track, to basically pause your cart right here to give you time to exit the cart before you loop back around. So that is what this other big pit is for that I've dug. And what we're going to do is drop in a detector rail that'll basically be the trigger for our delay. So I'll drop in the detector rail here, come down in my pit, and this will look a little silly, but it'll work. And so what we're going to do is add in a whole bunch of repeaters with delay. So I find 13 is a good number because we can basically set up a 5-second delay for 13. And actually, I'm going to hold off on those two. What we're going to need to do here is we're going to want a torch underneath this. So currently this is always on. So what we're going to do is invert our signal on the other end here. That way we have all these repeaters on currently, so ultimately we'll invert again and turn off that powered rail normally. But we can come over here, connect up some redstones. Let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Got 9 so far. So then I'm going to come over here and plug in. It's 11, 12, and I may need to move that torch actually. So that'll be 13 right there. And then dig down. So now that torch will be by default off. So, oh well, I'll adjust those tracks in just a second. So then we can come over here and set our delays. Now 12 of our 13 repeaters are going to be set to their full delay. Each one to a full delay will be 0.4 seconds, so 12 times 0.4 is 4.8, and then the last one will set to a 0.2 second delay. So all those are set, and then one click I believe is a 0.2 second delay. So 4.8 plus 0.2 is a 5-second delay. So that'll give us some time to get out of the cart before we get sent back around. Alright, so now let's fix this over here. So what I'll do is just move this over by one. That way we won't short circuit our stuff. Okay, so that should be set up. Before it gets dark here, let's test things out. So I can jump in our cart. So here we go, back around. So we arrive up here. I can chill out in the cart for a bit. And off I go. Got enough momentum. But then this time I'm going to hop out. And when our delay is up, we won't have enough momentum, and instead we'll be routed off to the Pez dispenser. So that is basically the full station design. If anyone has any questions, of course, leave comments on any of the videos. I'll try to answer any unique questions, but make sure you read the video description and some of the other comments first to see if it's a commonly asked question. But I hope you enjoyed this, hope it's useful, and see you next time.